Hey, I am back, still in my mom garb because it's Sunday night and yesterday was Halloween. I was tempted to do this journal in my costume yesterday, but I ran out of time. So I thought I would talk about my audition process for my video journal this week. It was really clear to me as I went through the readings that I have strong opinions when it comes to high school auditions. And I think that comes from working with my particular group of students for so many years. And I've tweaked it over the years, but I haven't really changed it in the last 5 because it seems to be working and I don't want to create mess. So the process that I do with my high school students, now this is particular to high school, is beginning of the year, I usually have announced the show, and then I call a lunch hour meeting and for anybody interested in being involved in the show, and I go over what the audition process is going to look like and what the show is. I give them a brief synopsis. I talk about the characters. I talk about the importance of all the roles. I talk about my expectations for auditions, which for my high school auditions, the only thing I make them pre-prepare is a song of their choice in a Broadway style. I don't use one from the show because I don't want them to learn it wrong. And I want them to show off something that they love. The only thing I ask is that it be a Broadway genre, which a lot of Disney is Broadway, as long as it's showcasing their voice and they're comfortable with it. That's all I need them to pre-prepare. I do stress as well in that meeting that I cast based on auditions. It doesn't matter what grade they are, and it doesn't matter if they were the lead last year or a tiny little part last year. If they come in cocky because they were the lead last year and bomb their audition, they're not going to get a lead. If they work their tails off and show their growth and knock their audition out of the park, whether they're in grade 9 or grade 12, and if they're right for the role, they will get the lead. And I talk about what goes into casting as well. And then I stress that if they don't make the cast, they can join crew because I have no number limit on crew the way we run it. After that, I post a sign-up sheet. So they sign up for a day and slot. So they are after school. I usually run 3 or 4 days after school in a row. And what happens is the day they sign up for, everybody on that day shows up right after school, and we do a group dance audition with our choreographer, and she's fantastic and she's a lot of fun, and it kind of helps all those nerves settle down. And I stress that they don't have to be dancers. I'm looking at their work ethic. I'm looking at their ability to learn. It'll be obvious if they've danced before. I'm looking at can they sell on stage, and it just kind of breaks down a lot of those barriers when they do it all together. This year it was super interesting in COVID because I had to tape out boxes and they all had to stay in their zones and be spaced out, but it was still a lot of fun. After the dance audition, I send the entire group out to the waiting area, and it's then when I hand out their audition sheets and I get them to fill out their audition sheets looking for past experience, availability. I usually ask them what their top choice would be for their role, just so I know. I usually ask them to tell me a joke. This year I asked them if they're willing to learn how to tap dance because we're doing a tap number. I usually ask if they're comfortable playing a male role, playing a female role, playing an LGBTQ role, because some kids aren't comfortable in that, and I definitely want to know that while I'm casting, and anything particular about them. Then I bring them in 2 at a time, and they've picked their partners ahead of time. So they've signed up with their partner, and they each sing their song. The reason I do partners is they can support each other, and usually they're friends, and they're not alone, but I don't do it in front of the whole group because that leads to gossip. And then I get them to do that partner. I've picked a whole bunch of sections from the script ahead of time, and I get them to do a cold read. I explain where it's from, what's going on, give them a minute with the script, and then I give them then they get to do their best shot. I film all of my auditions, the dance, the songs, the cold reads, everything, so that I don't need to do callbacks, and I sit there and agonize over it. At the end of the week, I with my crew, come up with a draft cast, and then I go home over the weekend and reread with that cast in mind, and sometimes tweak, sometimes go back to the videos. And then Monday morning, first thing, I post in paper right at my office. That way they all have to come and I hear everything that is said. And I typically know who's going to be sad and who's not, but it's who is best for the role. And that goes with singing, vocal range, acting, chemistry, strength, there's a lot of things that go into it. So sometimes it's not the strongest actor or the strongest singer that gets the lead. There's other factors that come in. It has nothing to do with grade. So I post and then I tell them right away that our first rehearsal is that day after school. And that has been huge for me because there will always be hurt feelings and disappointments as kids get their hearts set on a role and maybe they're not right for that role, or they had the lead last year and they bombed their audition, or lots of different factors. So if I can get them together that day and get them to start the read through, we never get through it in one day, and just kind of start to meet each other and do some icebreaker thing, right away the emotions start to subside and they go, oh, that's why that person got that role. Oh, okay, I'm okay with that. That's why that person got that role. To try and just kind of squash the gossip that's going to happen and the hurt feelings. And the kids know that they can come to me and talk to me about anything. And typically if a kid comes, it's, hey, what could I have done better for next year? It's usually those conversations. In the last number of years, I haven't had a single kid say, I think I should have gotten that role. That person's not right for that role. And that's why I have stuck to this process. Is it one I would do in professional theater? No. But with teens, they're fragile, and I want it to be as clear as possible. And again, I've gone over my 5 minutes. So hopefully that helps some of you if you're looking at casting a high school show. And that is particularly for musical theater, I should say. All right. Bye.